To make this video because making fruit pies has become a real joy and something I do all the time. Why? Because I finally found a pie crust recipe that I can work with, almost as easy as opening up Mrs. Smith's that I was doing for many years. So I thought I would show. These are the ingredients from an old Maine cookbook that I found. I have 210 grams of flour in here, or 1 3/4 cups of plain all-purpose flour. And I've got 1/2 cup of canola oil, or whatever vegetable oil one would want to have. 3 tablespoons of cold water. Other than salt, that's it. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt to the flour. Then I'm just going to stir for a few seconds. And then, easy as pie, so to speak, I pour just sort of drizzle it all over the flour, the 1/2 cup of oil. And stir. I have a big fork here, it seems to help, makes the stirring easy. And as the flour begins to pick up moisture, it's pretty well mixed. No big deal here. I take 3 tablespoons of cold water and just sort of drizzle it over. And now I try to mix it a little more thoroughly. It just takes a couple stirs. It begins to hold together, and I don't see any dry flour anywhere, so I will now just gather it up, which it does nicely, into a ball. And just kind of squash it together for a minute, get a little smooth ball. Now this is a 2-crust pie, so I'm going to just sort of approximate 2/3, and I'm going to cut off a 1/3 here for the top crust and take the bottom. Now this is also handy. 2 sheets of wax paper, about 24 inches I would guess, and a wet cloth that I put on the top. This happens to be wood, but I think any top would work. And then when I lay the wax paper, of course it sticks very nicely and won't slide around. And I take my larger ball and sort of press it with my fingers. I kind of close the edges so they don't split open, until it's kind of like a, 5-inch disc shape, and put the other wax paper over it and a rolling pin and start to roll it out. I'm sort of aiming for, I tend to do 9-inch pie, so I'm looking for a size that I think will just barely get over the lip of the pie. It rolls out pretty nicely. It seems like it's going to be way too thin, but it never is. I just keep rolling from the center out until I think I've got plenty to cover the edges of the pie plate, that is. Sometimes I roll and sometimes I just press. I think that looks pretty good. Now this also is just so handy. That comes right off. And this sticks very nicely to the paper. I'm taking it right over to my pie plate and I kind of lay it in there. Then you can push it and move it around, press it down like this, and then just kind of feel under and start to peel it away. I didn't do as good a job at getting it to the edges, but I'll show you how easy it is to deal with that even. There we go. So I'm a little short here, and if I just press like this, there it is. It comes right up over the edge. So there we are. I'm ready to put the berries in, and then I do the very same thing with a smaller piece of dough, only it doesn't need to be near as large, just enough to get the edges, and then crease it together. So I think that probably demonstrates enough without my doing that part.
So we'll stop now with the bottom crust and pick it up later when you do the rest.
Okay, so yes, good idea.